Hello. This is episode 8 of my reviews. I'm continuing my walkthrough review of Kingdom Hearts and for exploration of Kingdom Hearts 3, which is set to be the end of the Xehanort saga. I hope you stock up on pixie dust, because we're gonna go flying. Of course, when you're in Neverland, you're gonna run across what looks to be like a pirate ship. Of course, things don't go peacefully between Sora and Riku, as it appears to Sora that Riku had sided with the Heartless. But again, it was just a trap to restore the rest of their enemies. So they get dropped into the ship's hold and the ship's brig. And with the help of Peter Pan, you'll be able to add to the party after a short cutscene will escape from the hold and make their way to the captain's station. Where once again, Sora and Riku meet up. However, Riku found a shadow-like version of Sora, or an anti-Sora, if you want to call it. Now keep in mind that the anti-Sora that you be facing in this boss battle, and just about the same fighting abilities as you without the cure spell and whatnot. If I remember correctly about it. But shortly after that boss battle, you will surely chase down Riku and Captain Hook. Now, Sora and the gang finally gets up to where Wendy was being held captive, but Riku and Kyra are nowhere to be found. So Peter Pan ends up leaving the party to take care of Wendy, while Sora and the gang tries to find a way to get off the ship. As they make their way outside on the deck of the ship, of course, Captain Hook ones up Sora by capturing Tinkerbell. But just as when things start to look bad for Sora and his friends, Sora gains the ability to fly. Plus, Peter Pan comes back and, with the help of Sora, defeats Captain Hook, who ends up becoming shark food, or crocodile food, I should say, for the crocodile that took his hand. Now, while it is true that while in Neverland you are surrounded by pixie dust and you will be able to fly, it will be after you leave Neverland that you're probably wondering if you'll be able to fly. Well, worry no more, because after sealing Neverland, you get the shared ability Glide, which will definitely come in handy for future boss battles, or the boss battles that are soon to come up for you. Just like the mermaid capability is for Atlantica, the glide ability will also aid you greatly in battle. But shortly after another cutscene between Peter Pan and Wendy, Neverland's keyhole is revealed, which Sora seals, and you also gain Tinkerbell as a very useful ally. One thing I can say about Tinkerbell is that unlike the other summons that you will pick up throughout the course of the game, the rest of your party members are remain on the field with you, and she constantly heals everyone. Now, once Sora's knocked out, she instantly brings him back with full health, and then she leaves. So keep that in mind when in major boss battles. Now, now I'm going to start talking about some of the side quests that you'll have the opportunity to partake in as the overall storyline of the game goes on. Now, of course, everyone knows the story about Pongo and Perdita and their 99 Dalmatians. Well, unfortunately, the Dalmatians themselves have been scattered all over different parts of the world, and as the game goes on, it's going to be Sora's job to, of course, rescue the Dalmatians and bring them back home to Traverse Town. Now, to give Sora a head start on trying to bring the Dalmatians back home, 16 of those Dalmatians are in Traverse Town. There are 12 in Wonderland, 3 in the Olympus Coliseum, 16 in the Deep Jungle, 16 in Agrabah, 16 in Halloween Town, 16 in Monstro, 16 in Neverland, and then the final 16 are in Hollow Bastion. Now, as you rescue these puppies, and as you'll end up going back to Traverse Town to restock on your items and supplies whenever you need to, feel free to stop by. Well, when you stop by Pongo and Perdita's house in the second district, you'll see cutscenes where you'll see more and more puppies being reunited with Pongo and Perdita, and the 2 adult Dalmatians give you gifts in exchange for freeing their puppies and bringing them back home. Also, another thing I want to point out is that after you complete Monstro, when you go back to Traverse Town, and you'll actually see for yourself that Geppetto has opened shop in the first district, which will tie into the next side quest, which deals with postcards. Now, as the game first starts off, and as the game starts off, while you're in Traverse Town, you get the ability, or let me phrase that. During your first visit to Traverse Town, you can almost do this before Sora meets up with Donald and Goofy. But at any rate, during your first trip to Traverse Town, you'll be able to obtain 6 out of the 10 postcards during your first visit. And each time you mail off a postcard, you get a new item. And of course, the mailbox itself will let you know once all 10 postcards have been mailed. It'll say something like, "Thanks, no more presents." Now, throughout the entire game, or throughout the overall storyline of Kingdom Hearts, you're going to come across what is touched upon in Traverse Town are Trinity Mons. Now, the only way you will be able to activate these Trinity Mons is to have Sora, Donald, and Goofy in the main party. Otherwise, it won't work. Now, of course, I did mention about the blue, red, and green Trinity, but there are 2 more. The blue Trinity is what's known as the Trinity Jump. And you obtain that Trinity, or you gain the ability to use the blue Trinity after you defeat the guard armor in Traverse Town, right after Sora, Donald, and Goofy meet up. You obtain the ability to activate the red Trinity, which is the Trinity Crash, I think is the actual name of it, after locking the Deep Jungle, which actually comes in handy because you will need the red Trinity. You will need to use the red Trinity in order to get to the bell in the 2nd district, thus revealing Traverse Town's keyhole and your 2 boss fights. You gain the ability to activate the green Trinity, which is the Trinity Ladder, once you lock Agrabah. The yellow Trinity, which is the Trinity Push, you obtain after winning the Phil, Pegasus, and Hercules Cup at the Olympic Coliseum. Now, you don't have to necessarily win all 3 in that order. You just have to win those 3. And finally, you get the ability to activate the white Trinity, which is the Trinity Detect, after defeating Riku for the very first time in the Grand Hall at Hollow Bastion. Now, of course, you will need all 5 of these Trinity abilities in order to free all of the Dalmatians. Well, the majority of them anyway.